What is up, guys? Crisis here. I'm doing an arena analysis video, which is going to be, the beginning part here is going to be analysis, like what I'm playing against, strategy, and then I'm going to show the gameplay with kind of commentary over it. Not really commentary, like I'm not going to commentate everything, just some important parts here and there. And then afterwards I'll just play the full game with Skype. If you're only interested in the game with Skype, I'll put an annotation. Is that what those things are? I don't know. I don't really use them. But I'll put one of those in the corner. Anyways, this is going to be Warrior, Shadow Priest, Resto Druid against Warrior, Shadow Priest, Holy Paladin. Pretty much mirror match. Paladin versus Druid healers. I think Paladins are a little bit better in some regards, but Druids are a lot better in others. The CC is kind of even because Paladins have to come in melee range to do it. So they're easy to fear. They're easy for us to CC before they get theirs off. And Resto Druid can clone from quite far away. The other thing is Paladins are a bit better coming from behind. If like you CC a Paladin and someone gets low, they can pick them up quick with a couple of cooldowns. Resto Druids can also pick people up with Nature Swiftness and Tree Form, but Holy Paladins have more 3-minute cooldowns they can use. So if a Druid falls behind and pops everything, and a minute and a half later falls behind again, he can't catch back up, whereas a Holy Pally will have more cooldowns to use that. Anyways, the basic strategy you're going to want to use in this fight, at least that we use in this fight, is more or less tunneling the Shadow Priest to shut him down, and then you can swap to the Paladin, although we don't in this game, but we did in the game before. We fought the same team about 5 or 6 times, and we about split the games. The first 2 games, first game we killed the Paladin, second game we killed the Priest, and then they started tunneling our Priest, and it just kind of became a tunnel fest. But what are you going to do? It's kind of the state of the game right now. I feel like most matches seem to be just tunnel someone until they fall down. Is like, that's kind of unfortunate. That's not that fun, but that's kind of how the game has to be played right now if you want to win, because that's what everybody else seems to do. But you can swap off and kill the Paladin after bubble. A lot of times you can force bubble just by CCing him with a few cyclones into a fear. He'll most likely, after the trinket, he'll have to bubble. So that's a good time to swap him. Yes, you have Mass Dispel, so you can take bubble off, so you could swap him earlier. The issue is, if you 3-point Devouring Plague, and then he bubbles it, you're losing, you're getting the upfront damage, but you're losing the dot and everything, and Vampiric Touch, Shadow of Pain. So even if you get the bubble off immediately, you're still losing out on a lot of damage. You're going to have to spend at least 3 or 4 seconds getting your dots back up and starting to get going again. So you're already going to lose out on the kill there. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do it like that. Although you definitely can. A lot of people, if he bubbles at 5% and it gets Mass Dispelled, you can just immediately kill him as a warrior. Anyways, we pretty much just kill the Priest straight out without any switches in this game. Mainly because we just saw he was taking a ton of damage and they didn't know how to stop us. So it didn't make a lot of sense for us to do anything else at that point. Warriors are not good kill targets 90% of the time, I'd say. There are sometimes, if we're on Blade's Edge and if the Priest jumped off to avoid us and the Pally jumped off to heal the Priest, we could easily turn and blow up the Warrior. But more often than not, you're going to want to sit on either the Paladin or the Priest. And killing a Priest is a really good way to stop a lot of their damage. You can interrupt most of the Vampiric Touches, especially as a Warrior, because you have Pummel and then Disrupting Shout and Shockwave and Charge. So you have a lot of ways to interrupt. So you can more or less shut them down, which is huge. So, anyways, we'll start the game here, and I'm just going to talk over it, but I'm not going to commentate every little thing. It's just going to be bits and pieces of it. Okay, so now we're in the game. Just, as I said, we are on Blade's Edge, as I mentioned earlier. Although the map in this doesn't matter all that much. We kind of benefit because we have 2 life grips, but other than that, pretty much the same. And you're going to want to just charge in. You want to make sure to wait, because Resto Druids are going to be in stealth most of the time. You don't want to just run in, or you'll fall behind. So you do want to wait at least a little while. But you don't want them to get a clean opener either. And then you want to try to force, well, I just kind of feared the Pally. I noticed he didn't have sack up a lot of the time. A lot of times, he's going to put sack on his priest right away, so I did fear him. Because I noticed he didn't do that. And he didn't have fear wood. I don't quite know why. But that worked out. He didn't trinket it or anything, but it allowed us to get a little bit of pressure going and force them to play a little bit more defensive than they may have liked. So as you can see, we're just attacking this priest without really much else going on. There's not really any reason to right now. There's no sense in trying to kill the warrior. That won't happen. I should have interrupted that Psy Fiend with either Shout or Pummel. Well, Pummel I think was on cooldown, but I should have interrupted it with Shout. I don't know. I just wasn't thinking, I guess. But it was already DR'd, and that actually worked out well because then I got quarter DR'd on the warrior's fear, so it worked out okay. They get some decent pressure, but I mean, killing their priest. At the end of the game, you'll see damage done, and I'll zoom in to make sure it's clear. And the priest just gets shut down so hard. I was going for the double shockwave, by the way, there, and I just happened to miss. I don't actually know how the Pally didn't get hit. He looked like he was in that, but what are you going to do, right? It's just the way it goes sometimes. So at this point, the Pally already trinketed out of Cyclone earlier in the game. And so now we're in a pretty good spot, just because we were able to get a fear on that Paladin, and this is pretty much where we set up for the kill. So I'm just going to pause it right here just so I can explain this real quick, how we set up for this kill. The Pally trinketed earlier in the game, which meant that he was just like open to all of our CC. He could obviously bubble out of it if he wanted to, but other than that, he was pretty much stuck. So our CC chain in this game was my fear, because it had come off cooldown. I try to use mine first only because it has a longer cooldown, so I'd rather get that cooldown rolling like faster. So I feared him, and then I think that actually broke with Halo. I don't know in this game. I wasn't really paying that much attention, but I'm pretty sure Halo broke it, even though he was around the pole. Then we follow that up with either a Cyclone or a Silence from our Shadow Priest, depending. We just communicate. It just depends on what, like, the positioning and what's on cooldown. And then we follow that up with whichever one we didn't use. Here we use Silence first, and then our Druid uses his, I think it's called Disorienting Roar, for the 3-second CC. And then he follows that up with a Cyclone. I'm pretty sure it got kicked by the warrior. I'm not positive. But it got interrupted somehow. He either got charged at thunder or he got kicked or something. So I stunned the Pally for like 1 second with Shockwave, just so he had time to cast his Cyclone. And then he hits him with a full Cyclone, and the priest dispersed our fear and stuff earlier, like our fear into Silence earlier. So his dispersion's down already. And then we follow that up with, we follow up the Cyclone with a full duration fear from our Shadow Priest. And this fear actually works out fairly well. He gets feared pretty much all the way down the bridge. So there's the Disorienting Roar. There's my Shockwave. It only lasts about a second. I just did that just so we couldn't get any globals. The priest gets to about half, but then the fear hits, and the Pally gets thrown into the worst spot. He should have bubbled. Had he bubbled at the top of the ramp, we wouldn't have won the game here. We'd have been in great shape, and we probably still would have won. But he bubbled at the end to try to avoid more CC, but the game was already over at that point. He was way too far away. He needed to bubble in the beginning, as opposed to after, like in the end. But that was just bad timing on his part. He should have. That was just one of his mistakes. But if you look at the scoreboard here, which I'll zoom into, there is no way they could have really won that looking at damage done. Their Shadow Priest was just locked down too hard. Like I said, in future games, they start attacking our Shadow Priest, and matches become a lot more even. So that's pretty much the best strategy I would say in this matchup. Although, like I said, swaps to the Paladin healer, or any healer, are definitely viable. Druid healers, you can actually kill pretty early on in the game sometimes. Because they don't have bubble, obviously. So anyways, I'm going to play the full game with Skype. If there's anything you guys... If you want to see like more of these type of videos, let me know. And let me know what I can do to make this better. But with that, I'm out. Peace, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Alright, start on our priest, I guess. I feel like we killed the Pally when we killed these guys, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same team we've been fighting, so...
Hold up, hold away from me, away from me.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Now I'm going because I don't want them to open.
Bitch. He's not happy.
Feared this pally full already.
I'm feared. Oh. Not gonna drink this.
Stun bolt DPS.
Hey, pull me back up once the warrior hops down, if he hops down.
Disarm the warrior.
Jump down.
Nope, never mind. You're good,
Kick VT.
Get over here now.
I'm popping my thing just to get through this guy.
Alright, gonna get a capacity. Yep, dispel that.
Sorry.
I'm getting stomped by this guy.
Alright, now
his CDs are off, so I'm getting back on this guy. Stun. I have a stun. I'm gonna stun both. I know.
both.
I know. I just stunned both, so it's okay. I'll be good. Why am I getting so? Why did they remove Taste of Blood? I could one-shot this guy.
Did I get him off? Oh, I did get him off. Haha.
Whoops, I didn't mean to do that.
Get feared halfway across the map.
Charge stun. I'm feared. 3 seconds. 2, 1. Lasting forever.
That's...
Feared.
Sorry.
2,
Heal.
1. Jeez. Stun bolt DPS again. Oh, their pally already trinketed. Okay, I don't know what he trinketed, but whatever.
I knew you cute little
Disarm
fucking...
warrior.
Seeing warrior.
I have.
Who are they on? Are they on?
I
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing.
I don't lead them to the other side of the bridge.
I'm gonna fear this pally here in a second. Like 2 seconds.
Fearing both the deep, so if I get out of this, feared them both.
Pally's feared. On this priest.
Can't do.
Any CC for that pally? I can pop cooldowns.
Yeah, he's silenced.
Following that.
Alright,
I'm feared.
I'm popping cooldowns on this guy.
Following it.
Dispersion, there's dispersion. Stun the pally.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Waved.
Disarm the warrior.
Down warrior. Switch back to priest.
Fear the healer.
Yep, I'm feared. The healer is still feared. This guy's gotten healed with no healing. Life swap incoming. Nope, didn't do it.
He doesn't know about life swap.
I know. He didn't one swap the last couple times either. I don't know what's up with that.
Well, look where I am, dude. This is great.
What?
OP. Look at me.
You're like floating next to the rope.
Oh.
That priest did nothing that game. Nice job.